David Parker Ray's story begins in the desert, a place built for secrets. In this forgotten world, David Parker Ray was born. An ordinary name in an ordinary town, hiding a darkness no one expected. He entered the world in 1939 in Belen, New Mexico. His childhood offered no warmth or affection. His father, Cecil Ray, was a harsh man who used fists more than words. Silence ruled their home, cold and heavy. David grew shy, awkward, and easily overwhelmed. Classmates saw him as quiet. Teachers said he was distant. His father rarely visited but brought disturbing magazines. These were graphic, violent, never meant for a child. David accepted them the way children accept everything given to them. The images carved themselves into his developing mind. He was bullied often and humiliated repeatedly. He learned early what powerlessness felt like. Alone in his room, he drew strange devices. His sister found the drawings but didn't understand. She only sensed something was wrong. By high school, David barely spoke. He drifted through life as an observer, not a participant. He learned to disappear in plain sight. Silence became his strongest mask. After graduating, he enlisted in the army. He trained as a mechanic, disciplined, neat, capable. But discipline doesn't erase darkness. It only contains it. No one knew what lived inside him. He married multiple times, but each union collapsed. Partners described him as distant, secretive, cold. David could mimic emotions when he wanted to. He could charm, appear gentle, seem normal. But beneath it all, something darker waited. He didn't run from childhood shadows, he embraced them. In the 1980s, David moved to a trailer near Elephant Butte. Isolation made it easy for secrets to grow. Behind his trailer stood a metal, windowless structure. Locals assumed it was just a workshop. It looked ordinary from the outside. But inside, David Parker Ray built the toy box. It was a chamber engineered for torment, not a workshop. He reinforced the walls and installed chains and hooks. He modified medical devices into instruments of suffering. He added mirrors, lights, restraints, and a raised table. His journals were filled with calculations and diagrams. He wrote rules for his sessions. He documented fantasies with chilling precision. The most haunting object inside was a cassette tape, a recording of David's calm, emotionless voice. Victims heard it upon waking, terrified and confused. His tone was clinical, patient, horrifyingly calm. Survivors described the tape as waking in hell with the devil narrating. The toy box evolved over many years. No neighbor questioned the strange building. Sometimes evil doesn't hide. It just looks ordinary. David did not operate alone. Darkness often finds others like it. His partner became Cindy Hendy. She came from a turbulent life of abuse and addiction. David offered her structure, control, and a place to stay. Then he showed her the toy box. Most people would have run. Cindy stayed. Evil can seduce. Control can feel like safety. She learned from him and followed his rules. The two formed a disturbing partnership. Their system traumatized survivors for life. For years, women vanished without a trace. Cries went unheard. The desert swallowed evidence. Until 1999, when everything cracked open. Her name was Cynthia Vigil. She was 22 and had already lived a difficult life. On March 19, 1999, David abducted her. She was dragged into the trailer and chained. When she awakened, David's tape began playing. His calm voice explained the rules of her captivity. Then the sessions began. But Cynthia refused to break. She stayed alert, memorizing the room. She waited for a mistake. That mistake came when Cindy left the keys within reach. A struggle broke out. A lamp shattered. Cindy was injured. Cynthia grabbed the keys and unlocked herself. She ran into the desert sunlight naked, bleeding, chained. She screamed for help as she fled. A nearby family heard her and called the police. Officers soon discovered David's toy box. They expected a normal crime scene. Instead, they walked into a meticulously engineered nightmare. Tools and chains lined the walls. Journals documented years of cruelty. Modified medical devices filled the room. Diagrams covered the pages in chilling detail. Restraints showed signs of repeated use. Cameras and tapes were everywhere. At the center sat the immobilization chair. Hardened officers left the scene shaken. Some had nightmares for months afterward. The investigation into David Parker Ray had only begun, and the horrifying story of the toy box was far from over. The moment Cynthia Vigil escaped, the desert quiet shattered. Police cars sped toward the trailer park, sirens slicing the still air. Officers approached cautiously, unsure of what horror waited inside. No one expected the darkness behind that metal door. Inside, everything looked too organized, too intentional. Nothing was chaotic. Every object had its place. Tools hung neatly in rows like a grim museum display. A table stood in the center, its leather straps worn from use. Mirrors were angled overhead, lights positioned with purpose. It felt engineered, ritualistic, cold, and methodical. Detectives whispered, "This wasn't improvisation. This was planning. This was years." In a corner, they found David Parker Ray's diary, a thick notebook with neat handwriting and chilling detail. Pages listed dates, descriptions, and methods. He wrote about projects, sessions, and the toy box. He described his work like science, not cruelty. Some entries referenced victims by initials. Others used clinical language that made detectives sick. Then they found the tape recorder. An officer pressed play and froze instantly. David's calm, polite voice filled the room. He explained rules, expectations, and what awaited his victims. It sounded like a lecture, not a threat. Halfway through, the officer stopped the tape. He walked outside and vomited into the dust. More officers arrived as word spread. FBI agents followed soon after. The toy box became the center of a national nightmare. Investigators opened drawers and found hundreds of photographs. Polaroids of women bound, blindfolded, terrified. Some faces were young, some older, some barely alive. Some looked like they never made it out. They discovered tapes hours of recorded torment. Footage showed victims pleading and crying. The toy box swallowed their voices while the camera rolled. Investigators worked in shifts to avoid breaking down. Some could not finish their assigned tapes. One agent said it was curated cruelty, controlled, practiced. In another room sat surgical tools, meticulously cleaned. Scalpels, syringes, clamps wiped spotless, no stray DNA. David planned for evidence. He planned for discovery. He planned for escape. Yet the toy box existed, a monument to his depravity. As news spread, survivors came forward with fragments of memory. Some recalled waking in the desert, bruised and disoriented. Others remembered stumbling along highways half-dressed and drugged. Their stories had once been dismissed by authorities. Now everything made sense. Memories sharpened. Fragments connected. Some survivors recognized the chair from the news. Others recognized tools or the walls. One woman fainted at a single toy box photograph. Investigators realized the scope was far larger than expected. Cold cases across multiple states were reopened. Families who waited decades finally had leads. Evidence suggested he harmed 60 women, maybe more. But the desert keeps its secrets buried deep. When David Parker Ray was arrested, he showed no fear, no remorse, no panic. He denied everything calmly, like it was an inconvenience. He claimed the women lied. He claimed the equipment was for roleplay. He claimed innocence with a steady voice. But then officers found his diary. They confronted him with his own words. His mask cracked, but he still refused to confess. Investigators described him as the coldest man they'd ever met. Cindy Hendy broke long before he did. During interrogation, she trembled and stuttered. First she denied, then blamed David, then confessed. She described kidnappings and preparations. She admitted enforcing David's rules. She admitted participating in sessions. She said he trained her, and she obeyed out of fear. Her testimony became the prosecution's weapon. The trial that followed was suffocating. Families sat in silence, enduring every detail. Prosecutors presented photos, diagrams, and evidence. They played parts of David's tape for the jury. His calm voice, echoing in court, chilled everyone present. Jurors shivered. One cried silently. The defense argued fantasies, lies, and unreliable memory. But photos don't lie. Diaries don't lie. Survivors don't lie when they tremble on the stand. Cynthia testified with a cracking voice. She recounted waking to the tape and her desperate escape. The courtroom held its breath. The verdict came back. Guilty on all major charges. David received 224 years in prison. Cindy Hendy received 36 years. Yet closure felt impossible with so many victims unaccounted for. In 2002, David died of a heart attack in prison. Some said his death was too peaceful. He confessed to nothing, taking his secrets with him. The toy box was dismantled piece by piece. But the horror remains a permanent scar on the desert. And the unanswered question lingers. How can a human become capable of such darkness?